I'm going to
Okay,
I'm
it's
gonna
9 o'clock
momentarily
and we
add.
had, sorry, Lucy.
I was just gonna say, and I am going to add to the link, add to the chat, the link for today's materials if you don't have it.
Yeah, and if we've only got 33 people on right now, so yesterday we had upwards of 80, so you might need to add that again later because people, that would be me. Yeah, silence your phones, guys. All right, we are recording. My name is Ann Chinquette. I am one of the assistant team leaders at Keller Williams Realty, Greater Portland, Maine. And I've been a real estate agent since 2006. Started with a different company for the first 10 years and where I had to learn everything kind of by the seat of my pants because I didn't have a script book. I didn't have Ignite. I didn't have anything like that. And I don't know if anybody was in real estate in 2006, but that wasn't a great time to get into real estate because, you know, the market kind of crashed right after that. So everything that I learned, I just kind of learned by osmosis. It was hard, not gonna lie. It was pretty entrepreneurial. If you've studied the 6 personal perspectives, one of them is move from E to P, which is entrepreneurial to purposeful. And my first 10 years were entirely entrepreneurial because I was not at Keller Williams and I didn't have this great training. So I came over to Keller Williams after 10 years, which was in the end of 2015. My last year at that other company, I did just under 10 million with my best year ever being 12 million. And as soon as I came over to Keller Williams, my first year, I did over 18 million. So it was 92% growth my first year. And then the next year over 22 million, which was another 24% growth. So you don't grow your business 100% in 1 year without getting purposeful. And I was not an inexperienced agent. So the things that we're going to go over in Ignite, the things that we're going to go over today with scripts is what took my business from, you know, this level to this level in 1 year. So it's important. We teach this because it's important. It makes a difference. I've only been at Keller Williams about, well, coming up on what, 15, 21, almost 6 years. In that time, I was on the ALC for a few years. I've been the assistant team leader for almost 2 years. Bold 8 times, still got my bracelet. And it was taking bold while I was a Remax agent that kind of spurred me to join Keller Williams. So if you guys are looking to encourage people to join the company or make a change, Bold is a great introduction to the scripts and the tools and the mindset that we use at Keller Williams to propel us to success. So that's a little bit about me. Today we are Ignite Spark number 3, which is powerful language gets results. So I'm going to start sharing my screen. Figure out which one I want to share. Share this one. Sorry. Okay, can you guys see the Ignite slide?
Yes.
Yes.
Are you seeing the right one?
No, it looks like slide 1 of 29.
Okay. This,
It is the correct Spark 3 on my book.
okay, is it just the slide or are you seeing the other thing? I think we're good, right?
Seeing both. It's the duplicate screen, like what you should see as an instructor. It's not.
Oh, I am. Okay. So I want to share something different.
I think if you hit,
I'm sharing my other screen. Sorry. There we go.
Monitor.
How's that? Is that better?
there we go.
There we go.
Thanks, guys, for bearing with me. So Lucy Tucker is my wing woman. As I said, she is an ALC member here at KW Maine. She's on the education committee. And Lucy, do you want to introduce yourself beyond that?
Sure. Well, not much more to say. I've been doing this since 2007, and I have realized the importance of scripts. I would add, I'll start this class off with For me, when I used to hear the word script, I thought it had negative connotations. You're you sales carsman, etc. Don't be scripty. After taking the language of sales several times, I realized how important scripts are and really the importance of internalizing that. We'll talk about that today. I know Anne will touch on that a lot, but internalizing it's not really a script. It becomes the language that you use. And it
Right.
really is what controls situations and outcomes and being aware of it. So
Yeah.
think of script as a positive thing, not a
Yeah.
negative.
So Lucy's a great one to be on here because she is such a master of scripts and a believer in scripts. So thanks for that, Lucy.
Of course.
Um,
I'll be monitoring chat. If any of you have questions, just throw it in there and I will make sure that Anne gets us the answer.
yeah.
Perfect.
So yeah, I'm not going to be in the script. Lucy will poke me, and you can raise your digital hand if you need to, as well as everybody know how to do that. You have controls. So we're gonna get going. So the purpose of Spark, let's say Ignite, is broken down into a few different sections, and the Spark section really is intended for newer agents to get into business in the first 2 weeks. So the goal of Spark is to have you signing your first buyer or your first listing, getting your first contract within 2 weeks. So when somebody gets into real estate and gets into business in 2 weeks, that's pretty exciting. So is there anybody on here that would love to get more business in the next 2 weeks? Yeah, okay, seeing some hands, good. All right.
I already have business.
All right, let's do that. So this slide you're going to see repeated in a lot of the, well, probably all of the Ignite classes, because this is basically, we're going to just remind us all every day what a successful real estate agent does. And these are the activities. On the left, you do the things to grow your business, lead generate. Another word for that is generate leads. And, you know, I never even heard the word lead generate until I was at Keller Williams. And now it's like lead generate is a verb. And it's really generate leads. And leads are when you take somebody that you don't know or never heard of and turn them into somebody that you know or that knows you, with the intent of turning them into a piece of business, you know, not turning them into a piece of business, but helping them become a buyer or a seller. So that's what lead generation is. It's the #1 job of a real estate agent, is to generate leads so that you can then conduct business. Make a seller listing. Once you have a lead, you're going to turn some of them into sellers. Some of them you're going to turn into buyers. When some you're going to do both, and then you're going to preview real estate. Those are all the things that you do to grow your business. And then when you're actually in your business, you have some leads, you have some business. The things on the right are the things you do. Market your listings, show buyers houses, negotiate the contracts, get the contracts to close, because it doesn't do any good to get them under contract and not close them. Manage your vendors, which are like lenders, insurance people, stagers, photographers, all the allied resources that we have in our business. Setting your goals, that's part of being in your business and running your business. Taking care of your compliance and risk management, making sure your contracts are turned into your office, and then getting training and coaching, and managing your money, your budget, treating your business as a business. So what we're going to focus on today is the ones in red. We're going to lead generate, we're going to scripts and dialogues, and the language that we use are the tools that will help you with these 7 items. Does that make sense? Learning and internalizing the scripts are going to help you in virtually all of these, because the language that you use matters. You can say something well, or you can stumble. So the purpose of scripts. So today we're going to go over what is the purpose of scripts, and Lucy really summed that up pretty succinctly. So maybe if you guys want 3 hours back, we could stop now, but I think we're going to keep going on because there's some good stuff here. Lucy, you have put the resources, the links to the resources in the chat. Does everybody have access to those?
I put the workbook in there. I will add the slides. I'm doing them individually and I will do the overall link in a second.
Yeah, so what you should have is the student participant guide, which is about 12 pages. And the first page you're really going to need to pay attention to is page 5, because the first 4, just standard. And then there's a script book. So there's an Ignite script book. I can show you.
If you
Participant
want me to
guide.
share, I think I've got that up if you want me to.
So the participant guide looks like this. Can you see this? Are you seeing that right now?
And that was the first link I added.
Somebody give me a wave if you're seeing the participant guide. Okay, so the first activity we're gonna do is down here. It's page 5 in the document, but page 4 if you're looking at the page number. So we're going to talk about that. The other thing that you're going to have today is your script booklet. It looks like this. It's a 42-page book. Don't get intimidated by that. It's broken down into different types of scripts. Yesterday, you guys were talking about being brand new agents and not knowing what to say to those people and how it felt forced and how it felt awkward to just call somebody that you haven't talked to in years out of the blue. So when you go to page 8 in this document, here it is. Here's the new to real estate script, right? Hey, this is Anne. How have you been? And this is the Ford that we were talking about. And it takes you right through it. And then there's 4 different Ford scripts, and then calling referrals so that you talk to somebody, they tell you a script. I mean, they give you a name and then you call that person. This is what you say. And then you call other professionals. And this goes on and on for 42 pages, even your social media messages. So the first 14 pages are the ones that you're going to be practicing during the Spark section of Ignite. So like I said, Ignite starts out with Spark, which is to get you, it's the spark that lights the fire. Ignite, get it? And then Elementals is once you're a little further along, you're going to go into this Elemental script book. So today we're focusing on the Spark bit, which is only these first 14 pages. Okay, so those are the 2 documents I would like you to have saved as PDFs. They're in that Google Drive. Keep them on your computer, download them, print them. They're going to be super helpful as you review what we've done today. Okay. And I guess I can go back to that. Back to the slide. Okay, was that helpful? I just really want to make sure you have these resources. Give me a little thumbs up if you've got your resources and you're good. All right. So we're gonna talk about the purpose of scripts. We're gonna work on removing your limiting beliefs because are you sure y'all have them? I have them, we all have them. I heard a lot of them yesterday in Jesse's class. A lot of limiting beliefs out there about what people might think if we call them and about not knowing what to say and judgments people might make about us. And all those limiting beliefs really center around the language that you use, and the language that you use can give you confidence. So this brings us to the next thing that we're going to cover today is the benefit of scripts. And one of those is confidence, right? And knowing what to say. We're going to talk about, we're going to role model, learn how to memorize scripts. Normally, if we were in a classroom, everybody would break off into groups of 2, go into a little area of the room, and you'd stand up and you'd practice these scripts face to face. Can't really do that in a Zoom with 64 people. And yet we're going to role model it and practice it a little bit in the big group so that you can then hopefully get a partner in your own market center, in your own living room. I used to do this with my 13-year-old, Lucy, I'm sure you did too, practice my scripts. I mean, that kid is now a 20-year-old real estate agent, and he already knows all the scripts because I made him practice with me when he was 13. Script practice, we're going to do some ahas, do some recap, and then we're going to talk about your daily success habits, which, as you know, I'm assuming new agents, maybe not, maybe you're more experienced agents, but it doesn't matter. If this is your first week in real estate or your 10th year or your 20th year, Lucy, back me up.
Yep.
You got to have these habits. And you got to continue to practice your scripts because they'll get rusty like anything else, right?
It's very true. And again, back to that internalizing, the more you practice them, you might start to modify them. There may be a script or two that you really love and that you hone in on and it becomes your favorite. And you will change them with the times, because obviously this past 18 months or so, we've changed and started adding some scripts that we've used during COVID and quarantine. So
Right,
we'll
right. New
just-
scripts.
the components of what to say and how to say it will be there. The words may change.
Right. So that's what we're going to do today. It may go till 12. It may not. Depends on how much interaction and ahas and how much fun we're having practicing our scripts, how long we go. We will take a break somewhere probably between 10 and 10:15 for 10 minutes or so. So you can stretch your legs, do whatever you need to do and come back. And during that time, we'll pause the recording. So the purpose of scripts, and I'm going to tell you, I'd like you to write this down if you have a pencil or a pen or an iPad. My favorite bold coach ever said to the room, a script is just a powerful way to have a conversation. A script is just a powerful way to have a conversation. I'll say it one more time because I love it so much. A script is just a powerful way to have a conversation. Now, conversation is part of the Y4C2Ts, if you all know that, win-win or no deal. Do you know all those? Because they're super important. And I've got a virtual background, so this might not show up, but you guys know the Y4C2Ts. Where am I? Okay, there. So one of those is communication. Communication, seek first to understand. So when you seek first to understand, you're usually asking a question, right? And so we're going to talk about questions today and how asking is more powerful than telling. And that's part of the scripts, right? So a script is a powerful way to have a conversation. Conversation is key to communication. Communication is one of the Y4C2Ts, and communication is what separates a great real estate agent from an agent who fumbles and maybe doesn't have as much success. So let's just raise your digital hand if you want to be a successful real estate agent who doesn't have to fumble over their words. I see
Well, you
some
were
actual
all working
hand
on
hands.
raising those hands.
Look at all those digital hands going up. Okay, so
I'd add to that, Anne, and this is sort of a fierce conversations statement there, but where you talked about the conversation, we're all in the relationship business, and the conversation is actually the relationship. So that's how important what you say is.
right. And a script is a powerful way to have a conversation. The conversation is the relationship. Therefore, the script is the relationship. I mean, I don't know. That's like how math works, right? Isn't that the distributive property, or I don't know what it is. I love all the hands. Thank you. You all intend to be or already are super successful real estate agents. That's why we're here. If you're an admin, you're going to be a super successful admin. It doesn't matter. The scripts that you use are going to determine the type of business that you have. So let's become masters of scripts, okay? Woo! I'm excited. So as we said before, these are some of the things that the scripts will help you do. They're going to help you generate leads, which is the #1 activity of a real estate agent. A real estate agent only has 5 main activities. Lead generate. Anybody know the next 4? Besides Lucy? Can't see the chat. I'm going to have to open the chat. Lead generate. Going to give you #2. Lead follow up, or follow up on those leads. #3.
Phone appointments. Anyone? What's our goal?
Write these down. Write these
What is
down.
our-
These are gold. Lucy's
These
going
are-
to type them in the chat as I talk.
Right.
#1, lead generate. #2, lead follow up. #3, script and role play, or you can call that practice your craft. Just like, Tom Brady. I mean, we're in New England, so I don't know if you all still love him or are mad at him, but he practices his craft every day. right? So that's your scripts, because you're not really practicing filling contracts. I mean, you might be, but really you're practicing your scripts. Lead generate, lead follow-up, script and role play, go on appointments. Those might be listing appointments, those might be buyer appointments. Negotiate contracts. Lead generate, lead follow-up, script and role play, go on appointment, negotiate contracts. Those are the 5 activities of a real estate agent. Scripts are going to help you. Well, number 3 is scripts. The first 2 scripts are the magic sauce for lead generation and lead follow-up, because you got to know what to say. You're not going to wing it. You got to know what to say. So we've got a book for you that's going to tell you what to say. And as you internalize those scripts, you're going to naturally start to understand the pattern and the momentum and the tone of what's being given to you as a pre-planned script. And you're going to start to develop your own scripts and be able to write your own language and come up with your own language eventually. But first, you're going to learn it through these books, because this is setting you up for success. Does that make sense? Trust me.
Is anyone on here practicing scripts already? Just maybe a yes in the chat box.
So a lot of productivity coaching programs will have a script and role play, sessions during the week. I mean, we have one every day at our market center at 9:30. So, or actually 8:30, 9:30 on Wednesday is fun.
That's great.
Yeah, so still see some hands up. I don't know if that's because you want to be a great real estate agent, if that's because you're practicing scripts, but it's awesome. Scripts are going to help you lead generate. They're going to help you uncover motivation. And so we're going to talk, you're going to learn that a little bit later on in the Ignite series. When you're having an appointment with your seller or your buyer, you need to uncover their motivation for selling or their motivation for buying, because throughout the process, it always goes back to motivation. So great scripts and great questions are going to help you uncover those. It's going to help you get those deals to closing, because there's going to be sticky situations where some seller's acting crazy and you've got the buyer and you don't know what to say to him to calm him down or to say to the other agent, and you're going to have some great script given to you that's going to allow you to get that deal to closing. You're going to be able to speak in terms that the client or the customer understands and that the other agent understands. Because, I mean, let's face it, sometimes we have to deal with agents that aren't great communicators. And if you can be a great communicator and ask them great questions, you can break through a lot of the obstacles that might come up, that could blow up your deal. So we want to get every contract to closing, and that doesn't always happen, which is another class called Bulletproof the Transaction, which you should take if you ever get to. And it's going to, honestly, more important than probably all these other ones, it's going to build confidence. So when you have the confidence to just be able to answer any question or ask any question, and it's like they say with a lawyer, don't ask a question that you don't already know the answer to, right? So these are pre-planned questions that are going to get you the answers that you need in order to be a successful real estate agent, to generate business, to follow up with business, to turn leads into clients, and to get clients to closing. And you all want to get clients to closing, don't you? What happens when we get a client to closing?
You get paid.
Money, right? And, we're not in real estate just to make money. We're in it because we love houses, or we love people, or we love the process, or something like that. But ultimately, I mean, the purpose of business is to fund your perfect life. And if you're, otherwise we would just be volunteers, right? So it is about the money and all these other things along the way. You don't always want to make it about the money, but ultimately you're in it to support your family, or to support your community, or give back, or whatever your motivation is for making money. All these things we're going to talk about today are going to make you more money. Is that okay if I help you make money? Who wants to make more money?
Please.
Can I just say, when I was at Remax and, selling 10 or 12 million, I was doing all right. That's a decent living. When I came over to Keller Williams and they taught me to sell 20 million, I was pretty grateful. I really enjoyed 20 million. It was a lot more fun than 10 million, right? Because of the things it allowed me to do. I got to put my kids through private school. I got to take them to Italy for a couple of weeks. I got to buy myself a little convertible, like all these things that I couldn't do before. I got to like give a lot more money to my church than I ever had been able to before, and give money to Cater Who Cares and help people in Texas and, that were having problems. Like money is good for the good that it can do. And everything that we're teaching you in Ignite is to help you make more money so that you can do good for your family, do good for yourself, do good for your community, whatever it is. Okay with doing good? Okay. My job today is to sell you on the importance of scripts, because I'm telling you, I've got 71 people on here, so 69 besides me and Lucy, who may or may not be believers in scripts. And
we had a handful in there that are practicing, which is great. And I see that Learn Soars in Cranston, Rhode Island is looking for a script partner. So I think that's another goal before the day is through.
Right.
Anyone who wants one, pair up with somebody. And
we're going to do that when we get to the part where we would be pairing off in the room and we're not in a room. We're going to start looking for script partners, and we're going to make a commitment to script and role play with each other or with somebody 4 times a week minimum for 15 minutes. That's the minimum. Okay. Like if you're not out there, in appointments and negotiating deals and generating leads, you don't have anything else to do. You should be practicing your scripts, even if you're doing it in front of a mirror, in front of a video camera, or with your 12-year-old. It doesn't matter. You just got to practice your scripts. Okay.
And that's great. Lourdes and Paul are already scripting up together there in the chat box.
Get you guys. Okay. So my job in this class is to teach you a little bit about scripts and make you understand that they really do matter. And how am I doing? Are you believing me yet? Anybody?
I believe you.
Lucy believes me. Martin believes me.
Please.
Do you want to learn scripts? Who wants to learn some scripts and apply them to their business? Nellie does. She's like, give me the scripts, because, I remember, I don't know who was talking yesterday that was saying, I'm brand new. I don't know what to say. It's going to sound forced. People aren't going to believe me. It's going to sound disingenuous, right? Remember those conversations?
It sounds like you're jumping into those limiting beliefs there, Ann.
Yeah, so we're getting there. So anyway, let's just start with this. This is very basic. Who wants to come off mute and read the first one? And say it like you work at your favorite department store.
Did you find everything you're looking for?
Thanks, Carol. Have you guys ever heard that before?
All the time.
Yeah, it's a script, guys. Okay, who wants to read number 2?
Go ahead, look around, and please let me know if I can help you.
Yeah, how's that for a script? You're gonna go back and let them know when they can finally help you?
No.
Probably not, but you're a little more likely to, because at least they use the script on you. What about the third one? Okay, now we're at Best Buy. Who wants to be the Best Buy person?
I see you admiring that big screen TV. Are you looking to get one for the big game this weekend?
There you go. So that's a Best Buy script, right? So, raise your digital hand if you've ever heard, one that sounds like that. I want to see like 70 digital hands. There you go. Holy, look at them all.
And adding to that, how many of you get calls on a daily basis from a telemarketer, from Zillow, somebody trying to sell you leads? They're all using scripts.
What are some other common examples that you've heard before? So these are all pretty much retail, right? Or maybe cars or whatever, which I guess is retail. Can you think of any other common examples that you've heard before of scripts? Maybe even real estate scripts? Because, before you became a real estate agent, you likely knew a real estate agent. Can you think of any scripts that you've heard in real estate? Just throw some out there, or throw them in the chat, or just come off mute, like talk all at once. I don't care. Anybody? Are we putting them in the chat? What are we doing?
Nope, nobody's putting them in the chat. But I would say, since I see we've got hands up from Martin, Cynthia, Allison, Nicole, You have obviously raised your hand because you've heard scripts like this before. Can you think of anything else?
Throw me a script. What have you heard?
Is this the first open house you've been to today?
That would be a good open house script. Yeah, you've probably heard that. Any other scripts?
You know, a calling script, since I do lead generation in the office a lot, is like, I'm so sorry for the random call, but I just, I'm selling a house down the street and recognize that my, that there's a good market. Oh, I'm totally screwing up, but you know what I mean?
So you've heard this script before. You've actually delivered this script before.
No, I've heard people use it.
You've heard other people use it while you're in the office. And you don't have it written down in front of you, so it's not flowing maybe as smoothly as you want to. So, would it help to have that actually written in front of you in a
Yes.
sort of a booklet or whatever?
I need that. Yep.
Yeah,
And I
right?
need-
Because
yeah.
like we talked about, that's going to help you deliver that script with confidence and make it sound like it's coming from within you. So that's what Lucy keeps talking about, internalizing the scripts and, memorizing and internalizing. And it might sound hokey, honest to goodness. And it seems a little forced and it seems a little fake and all that at first. And just trust us. Trust Lucy, who sells millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of real estate every year. She's a rock star, and trust me that when you internalize these scripts and when you get diligent about memorizing them, you're gonna rise to the top in your industry. You look at people like, Jeff Glover and Cody and all the people that are on Mega Camp and Family Reunion. Like, these guys are script masters. That's what got
Ben
them where they are.
Kinney. Ben Kinney is
Kinney.
the master of all scripts.
Lance Loken. I mean,
It's all of
whoever,
them.
keep going.
And
Did
every
anybody
time-
watch the Battle of the Scripts at Mega Camp? Watch that sometime. That's pretty cool. Okay, so now we're going to do that activity where we remove your limiting beliefs. So we're going to turn to page 4, which is actually the 5th page in the document in your packet. So I'm actually going to just share that document. So in case you don't have it, you can look at it on the screen. And for the people watching this recorded, let me find that doc. Participant guide right there. Can you see this? So this is your if we were in a classroom, picture this, we're all sitting at tables and you all have this little sheet in front of you, and you're going to take a couple minutes and you're going to write down limiting beliefs that have held you back when you've been making phone calls. And I already gave you a couple of the answers because I was talking about people that I heard yesterday that were struggling with, I don't know what to say. So what's a limiting belief that has held you back? I mean, be transparent. You don't have to share this. This is for yourself, but fess up, come on and just dig deep and say, what is really holding me back? And then for each limiting belief, we're going to have you record a way that you've already have or that you plan to remove your limiting belief. Well, that's something I want you to do right now. So while I'm talking, just be working on that. I know you can't multitask. That's a myth, but for those of you that don't want to be writing it down, I'm just going to keep talking.
And I'm sure if you've gone this far in Ignite and with KW, probably do know what a limiting belief is, but if there is anybody who doesn't, just raise your hand.
So Lucy, tell me what one of your first limiting beliefs were back when you were at that other company with the blue signs. Maybe you had some limiting beliefs before you got bold and,
Well, I'd be
crushed
happy.
them all, just crushed your limiting beliefs and became a super bold star. What was some limiting beliefs? I mean, I can give you a
I
whole
tell ya.
page full of mine.
Yeah, me too. My number one limiting belief was I didn't want to bother people. I didn't want to, they're home. They don't want to hear from me. I don't want to bother them. They're not going to want to take my call. That was my number one limiting belief for having me pick up the phone.
Here's the thing, Lucy, for those of you who are familiar with the DISC profile, is maybe like 100% I, and I don't know what her other things are, but she's got,
I'm ID.
okay, she's got a lot of I. I got a lot of I, but my D wins out. So I have the same limiting belief. I don't want to call them. They're gonna be like, what are you calling me for? You're like, I already have a real estate agent. My neighbor's a real estate agent. My cousin's a real estate agent, whatever. Like you, what do you know? You don't know. You're just looking for business. Like you're just trying to make money off me. You're selfish. Like I haven't heard from you in 5 years. Why are you calling me today? Like, and I just felt guilty and I felt like a predator and, like
Exactly.
I still, I'll have call bias. I'll go through my phones. I'm supposed to call everybody whose last name begins with N. And I'm like, oh, I don't think I should talk to that person. I haven't talked to him since I closed on their house. Well, okay. You got to call them anyway. And there's a script for that.
There
You
is.
haven't talked to this person in 6 years. There's a script for that. Trust me when I say it might not be in your elemental in either one of these books, but there is a script for that and we have them.
And if you're also looking, great resource for scripts, I would share go to command. And under command, a lot of those action plans that are out there that agents are doing, if you just look at what they have out there, they're amazing. There's some
So
really
many
great.
scripts. You're
so
never
many
going to run out of scripts, guys. So what we want to do right now is remove and squash your limiting beliefs. So is there anybody on here that's brave enough and vulnerable enough to share a limiting belief that they've experienced?
I know for me in our area, it's kind of just been the aggressive market. I have a handful of buyers that are kind of just on the end of their chair. They want to buy, but they don't think it's possible because of how quickly things are selling and at over asking price. And
Right. So it sounds like your buyers have a limiting belief. What's your limiting belief, Mallory?
I'm pretty inexperienced. So, having those discussions with them and kind of comparing, the low interest rates as an incentive and trying to talk them through that anxiety and get them to the point where they're willing to, go get their pre-approval renewed because it's been so long that since they've done it and getting them to really be interested and still shopping and not have anxiety about it.
So I'm just trying to identify your limiting belief.
Mhm.
Is it fair to say that your limiting belief is that you don't really, I don't have the knowledge or the skills necessary to help these people out of the quandary they're in? Something like that?
Yeah. I think it also boils down to confidence too. So I know I can get the information, but just having to have that conversation and knowing how to use my words and not scare them even more. And
Okay. That's great. I love it because your limiting belief is, if we're going back to this activity, your limiting belief is, I don't have the confidence, the knowledge, to get these people out of the situation they're in that is causing them to not actually be able to buy a house. And so for each limiting belief, we're going to talk about how you plan to remove that limiting belief or how you already have. Sounds like you haven't quite got there yet. So is there anybody on here who can help Mallory figure out a way that she can squash that limiting belief? How is she going to overcome that? Let's help her.
Well, and it won't just be Mallory, because there's a couple people that have added also into the chat. Obviously,
Okay.
This is a newer group of agents, so a lot of it revolves around, I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't really know what I'm doing. People can see
Don't have the
through me.
skills.
Yeah.
So
As a new agent, I don't have the skills yet. Imposter syndrome, right? So
People are too busy. I don't really know what I'm doing. People can see through me, know that I can't add value. Oh, you guys.
so you can all add value. Let's just stop right there.
Yes. So I don't know what imposter syndrome is. Like I'm pretending to be an agent and I'm really not, because I don't really have the skills yet. So here's the great news, you guys. You are ahead of every agent out there that's not taking Ignite.
That's right.
So
So I have a similar, so this is Chuck. I have a similar issue to what she was saying. And, maybe, I've been a new agent actually since January. So I've actually switched to Keller Williams in July. But, a lot of times I limited myself calling people because I felt that I was an imposter or, I was afraid to call people because there's so many agents in the market. Everybody's getting their license, right? So I just thought I had very little value. So
Right.
I found that just by calling people and showing up to the office and doing lead generation with with other Keller Williams office gave me the confidence to feel, because immediately I had a coach sitting next to me saying, saying to me, this is what you could say next time. And so just by going into the office and calling with people, I have now overcome that fear. And I feel even more confident, even though I still don't 100% know what I'm doing, but it has removed that fear of calling people. And I have to challenge myself every week to hit my goal. So, and I haven't hit my goal yet, but this week I actually have called the most people I've called since I've started.
Great. Well, good for you. So, and what I heard in that was sometimes the obstacle to making the calls is knowing what to say. Is that fair?
Yes.
Is there anybody on here that's like, I would call these 10 people if only I knew what to say?
It wasn't
Has
just,
anybody felt that way?
it wasn't just say, it was also the feeling of, of breaking down the barrier of actually making the call, and when they answered, to feel okay to talk.
Right. And so part of that is knowing what to say, right? And so Mallory, if somebody really drilled into you, hey, Mallory, these people are having this issue and they need to renew their pre-approval or whatever it is. And these are the conversations you want to be having with that person. These are the questions you want to ask. These are the words you want to use. And this is how you want to say it. This is the tonality you need to use. And this is what your end result needs to be. And this is how you get there. Here's the roadmap to get from these people not being able to make an offer to get them under contract. I'm going to give you a roadmap that includes all the words to use along the way. Would that give you or help you build that confidence that you need in order to serve those people at a higher level? Mallory, I can't see you, but I trust that you're listening.
I am. No, absolutely.
Okay.
That would definitely help me out. I think it's just, obviously I am a new agent. I think just this time in the world and everything going on. And I think there's a lot of nervousness, especially with first time buyers. I'm noticing, they don't know where their investment's going to be next year. I had somebody ask me, one of my buyers, so she said, so for, the bulk of first time home buyers, everybody's, buying houses that are, would have been a waterfront 3 years ago. So everybody's, paying over asking price, right at appraised or, sometimes even more than appraisal. What's going to happen to them in a couple of years when they go to sell it? Am I going to be upside down in my investment? Am I even going to be able to sell this in a few years? Like
Right.
What's happen to the market at that point? And I don't know.
And do you feel like you don't have the answers for that?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
I have a couple, I have an idea,
Right.
things that I've heard, but I
don't know enough. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
Okay. I've got Heather,
experienced
because I
enough
don't
to-
know enough about the current housing market. So
Yeah.
this is great. I mean, at KW Maine, we do an economic update on the first Wednesday of every month, which is a ton of information, talking about the economic update, not only for the state of Maine, but for New England and for the whole country. And honestly, the world, they go really deep. We're really lucky to have a couple of people in our company that will do that for us. And these are the conversations that we're having with our agents. I'm sure there are people in your market center that can have those same kinds of conversations. If not, hey, you're welcome to come to our all partner meeting. Or just, go to your team leader, go to your ATL and ask them, can you help me understand the market better so I can serve my clients better? When they are talking to you about that and when you're engaging and digging in, and you're going to come up with catchphrases and an elevator speech and scripts. And, it's okay to write those scripts down and prepare them for use when the next time you go to talk to your people. You don't have to walk in and wing it. So this is why we're talking about scripts today. Scripts, like Lucy said, has a bad has a bad rep and a bad connotation. And some people think, oh, I don't want to sound scripted. Remember, a script is a powerful way to
Have a conversation.
have a conversation. Lucy's always filling the white space for me. Thanks, darling.
Well,
So-
leave some of it out there.
These conversations, and so I was just reminded, I was in the staff meeting before Ignite, and my team leader Brad said, people will grow into the conversations you create around them. That's a bold law. People will grow into the conversations you create around them. So if you're having conversations about the market of the moment, if you're having conversations about buying at the peak, is it ever really the peak? I mean, the best time to buy real estate was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. It's just like planting a tree. As long as they're not looking to turn around and flip that in a year or two, they're probably going to be okay. If you watched Gary's sort of economic update at the mega agent session, housing has grown 4% per year, sort of forever. Yeah, there was a big dip, and then we finally got back to the 4%, and now we're actually above that right now in 2021. And yet, it always eventually goes up, right? So there are conversations like that you can learn by engaging in other trainings that will give you the right script to say. I mean, that was just a script. I just scripted you guys about the market. Okay, I use that same script on my sellers and my buyers. Like, yeah, you're paying 40,000 over value right now, and guess what? As long as you're not moving in 5 years, you're probably going to be okay. Going to be okay, because you know what? Interest rates are 2.8. You're planning to stay here for at least 5 years, aren't you, Mr. and Mrs. First Time Buyer? Yeah, we are. Okay, well then, as long as you can make the payment, what's the problem? You're not looking to sell. This isn't a stock. It's your house.
You have a roof over your head when a lot
This
of people
is a
don't.
script. I'm scripting y'all. Like, these are the scripts that you can design and create and spend some time and think about them, come up with them and use them. So,
And one thing I'd add to
yeah.
that, and then I think that Martin might have a question. Do you have a question, Martin?
I didn't have a question. I just wanted to comment on the anxiety around, those first calls you make as a new agent. And so one of the things I did was, as I was going through my contacts, I started with Facebook, and first I looked at my notifications and said, oh, there's a few people have birthdays. And there was a couple people I hadn't talked to in years. And so I started to type the message and said, no, just got to do it. So I called them. What a great way to start a conversation with somebody you haven't talked to in 5 years. Hey, I know it's been forever, but today's your birthday. Just want to reach out and say, hi, happy birthday. What are you up to?
Right.
And I
Excellent.
did that with 3 people. One of them was a good friend that I just had lost contact with in Boston. And he said, I'm homeless in New York. And I said, what? And he said, yeah, I just put everything in storage, and me and my partner moved down here. We're in a hotel frantically looking for an apartment. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm a licensed agent in Massachusetts, but not New York. So let me hook you up with somebody who can help you find a home. Called an agent in New York, hooked them up. He ended up finding a place without the agent, so I didn't get the referral fee, but still that was really, really easy. And, you have some common bond there. It's somebody's birthday. That's a reason to call.
That's
That's
so
a good
great.
starting point.
Yeah, who does
And that's just something that will help break the ice and get you used to making those calls, which, yeah, they can suck for the first time.
I love that so much. How many of you have friends on Facebook that you don't ever really call them or talk to them, but when it's their birthday, you post on their timeline? I mean, I have a little Bitmoji of myself going, happy birthday. Like, I like to do that, right? That's fun. And it's like safe, right? Well, here's the thing. What if instead of, or in addition to posting on their timeline, you called them? You can even call them through Facebook, for crying out loud, Facebook call, right? If you don't know their number, just call them, go, hey, I saw that it was your birthday, blah, blah, blah. And there you go. He just broke the ice. He just taught you how to do that. That was a script. Write that one down, you guys. Y'all can do that. Like, who doesn't want to get a birthday call? Jeez.
I know, Martin, that's great. And you can also carry it to the next step if it's anniversaries, or you see them posting something about their kid doing great in a game, or whatever it happens.
Graduating from high school, off to college. Hey, I saw that you just sent your baby off to college. How you doing?
Yeah.
I know that's so hard. Or
Facebook
there's
gives us
dog just
absolutely-
died, whatever it is, right? Call them,
Look,
call them up.
I'd say
Yeah, that's
Facebook,
one of the things about Facebook and the people
Mhm.
you're interacting with. You're on there and you're friends with them for some common reason.
Right.
And when you follow them and see their posts, something's gonna click. And that's just a really great icebreaker, really great prompt for you to reach out and talk to them. That's not going to work with everybody. There's definitely people you're going to have to go through your phone and just call and, find a script that'll work for you. But Facebook and what people are posting is a really good,
It's a good prompt.
really good venue. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. So, okay, so those are some limiting beliefs, being new. We just got a question
another
about the packet for limiting beliefs is the Spark 3 participant guide. Lucy, can you post the link to the participant guide in the chat again, in case we had some people that got on late and couldn't see it?
I can do
yeah.
that. And while I'm pulling that up, and I just wanted to also add to those who said, so many of them said, I don't know what to say. People are going to ask me questions. I don't know what's going on in the market. I would say pay attention to the most commonly asked questions that you get, whether it's how's the market doing, or what our interest rates are, or how many days on market, or what percentage are things selling for. And then take those questions back to your team leader or someone in your
Productivity
office,
coach. Yeah.
whoever it happens to be, and just get those answers. So you will become the economist of choice, and
Right.
you'll get those answers.
Learn the answers. Nobody said it was going to be easy. You need to become the economist of choice, and there's some work involved in that. And then that will help you build confidence. And watch the news. Watch not talking about the news, but watch real estate news. Like subscribe to some real estate channels and things like that. So here's the limiting belief bit. So we used a couple of examples on limiting belief. If we were sitting in a classroom right now, we would go down to part 2, you would pick a partner, you would go up to one of your limiting beliefs, and with your partner, you would draft 4 or 5 steps that you could take to squash that limiting belief. Okay, listen, you guys are going to leave this class today. You're going to go back to doing what you're doing. You're going to wake up in the middle of the night. You're going to wake up tomorrow morning, and you're going to be faced with doing some real estate activity, and you're going to walk straight into a limiting belief. You're just going to walk into it. I don't know. They used to call it a drunk monkey and bold. I don't even know what to call it anymore, but it's a little voice on your shoulder saying, you can't do that. You're going to screw that up. That's not going to go well. You're going to feel horrible if you do that. This is not going to work. You can't do that. Who do you think you are? You have no right asking these people for business. You don't know what you're doing. You're going to hear that inside your head. And I'm here to tell you, it's inside your head. You got to get that voice out, and you got to replace it with a voice that says, I know what I'm doing. If I don't know, I'm going to find out. And I absolutely can help these people. I finished my class. I got licensed. I passed the test. I'm in these great trainings. I'm becoming an expert in real estate. I know way more about real estate than these people do. I'm here to help them. I'm here to serve.
So,
You're going to replace all that with the good stuff. You believe me?
here comes Jeff now. You let people in. Multitask. So yeah, we were talking. You want to make.
You muted me, Lucy. Okay.
Sorry.
I'm back. So thank you. Do you believe that? Because this is an important part of this class today. We're going to squash your limiting beliefs or teach you how to. And the way to do that is write it down, acknowledge it, realize that you've got a limiting belief, and then step outside yourself and figure out how you're going to get rid of that limiting belief and overcome it. Because when you overcome it, you're going to not only help yourself, you're going to help your clients. And when you help your clients, you're going to help your family, because you're going to make more.
There was a point made in here by Shane that from Wallingford about there is an awful lot to absorb, that Shane, don't see you on here. Practicing scripts, understanding the knowledge of what you're selling, new agent who started in August and trying to apply the same concept. It's just a lot more script practicing. It really is. So I would say focus in on maybe a few scripts that you really want to hone in on, one for buyers, one for sellers. And just because, boy, those of you guys know, so many of you are new to it, drinking, it's like drinking from a fire hose at KW. There is just, one of the great things about it is there is so much education. There's so much information. One of the things about it that's overwhelming when you're first getting started is there's so much education and there's so many resources. So just kind of hone in on what your primary goals are, maybe just for the last quarter of this year, and just really nail scripts around that. You don't have to nail every script. That's too hard.
So you're going to systematically go through Ignite. Today we're starting with the scripts because everything from here builds off the scripts, right? The next class that you take is going to tell you how to implement those scripts. So, I mean, yesterday we talked about lead generation, and a question that kept coming up was, okay, like, you're telling us where to lead generate, who to talk to, you know, door knock, call our sphere, allied resources. But what do we say? But what do we say? But what do we say? And that's why I kept interrupting Jesse yesterday and saying, we're going to talk about that tomorrow, because tomorrow's the language. So today is tomorrow. And so today we're going to give you the scripts, right? And you have the entire script workbook at your disposal in the Google Drive. If you don't have access to the entire Google Drive, Lucy, there's one Google folder that's like Spark 1 through 9, and it's like all the files. Can you share the, is that the participant guide just for?
That's for just today.
Spark 3. Okay, so
And then
just for Spark 3, it's called page 4, but it's actually the 5th page of the PDF. So yes, page 4 is notices, do not call, whatever. The front of the thing is Ignite, and then it's notices, and then it's the table of contents, the limiting belief activities in there, and then it's the and then the next one is we're going to go over about the video. So we're going to just I'm going to go back to the slides. Okay, you did the activity with your limiting beliefs. Are you seeing that one now? Yeah, right. The benefit of using scripts. The purpose. We talked a little bit about this. It's number 111 is it builds your confidence, right? It allows you to stay focused on the conversation and present in the moment, allows for consistency is what is said and actions that agents take. So a lot of us that are experienced agents, we're using the same scripts as our friends, right? Because we all learned them together. But we're all talking to different buyers and different sellers. So they don't know that we're all saying the same thing. It's fine. It's okay. So look at the next page in your participant guideline. I mean, your participant book that asks you questions about, there's some discussion questions. Can you all see that in your participant guide? Or do you want me to bring it up? You got it? Okay, we're gonna watch a quick video with one of the masters of scripts. This guy, I swear, has memorized the entire Bold program. He's amazing. Can you see the slide that says how to use scripts right now? Because that's where the video is coming from. Tell me, and Lucy, I'm gonna need you to tell me, darling, if for some reason the audio doesn't come through. Okay. Can you hear it? Lucy, can you open the audio?
Yep. Well, sort of. It's not good. He was there for a second and now it's gone. Can you turn it up on UV volume?
Okay, can you hear that?
Nope, still not great.
Not good.
No.
Okay, let me figure that out. Can't hear. Okay. Well, Let's do it with subtitles. How about that? Can you hear that?
No,
It's not good.
can't hear it. We're seeing the translation, the transcript below it.
And it sounds like you might have the Bluetooth on your computer, which, because it's kind of like bleeding through, like it's maybe on another device.
Mhm.
Sorry, somebody was talking.
Yeah, did you try turning the Bluetooth off on your computer?
No, I mean, it's coming through my computer. I don't even have Bluetooth really on.
But now everything that you're saying is showing up.
Right, because I turned on that. So I'm gonna just stop sharing.
Gotcha.
There was a, sorry guys, I should have that figured out, right? Why?
Sometimes if you stop sharing and then try it again, or if you've got too many windows open, but if you stop sharing and try it again, it works.
Well, now we've got everything that we're saying being recorded. And I don't know how to get that back out. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take our 10-minute break because it's 10 o'clock. And my computer says it's 10:02. So we're gonna come back at 10:12. And I'm gonna have this figured out. So while we're on break, if you wanna just mute yourself, turn your camera off if you want to, and please, when you come back, turn it on. And we're gonna talk about his video. It's almost over. I mean, honestly, everything he says is pretty much on the slide anyway. And we'll get that figured out and then we'll go from there. Okay, see you at 10:12.
Pause your recording.
It is 10:12 and we are back. I hope everybody had a good break. I tried to fix my audio issue and I couldn't do that. I'm sorry. It's about a 5-minute video with Jeff Glover, and I'm sure we can find that video for you guys. I'm gonna go back to share my screen. Okay. So there's the video that I can't get to play. Can y'all see that? Okay, still
It
can't
sounds like
hear it, right?
Wants to play, but it's playing. We just can't hear it all the way.
Can't hear it. Yeah, okay. It's because I don't have Zoom set up to computer audio. I have it on the microphone. So I know that's my fault. And it's okay. We're gonna just power on. So the next piece is the benefits of using scripts. So basically Jeff Glover is going over what the benefit is of using scripts. And we've talked about that when we go back to your participant guide. I'm gonna do a new share. I'm gonna share participant guide. Can y'all see the participant guide? So we just squished your limiting beliefs, right? Oh, we've got a hand up. Who's got, somebody have a question? Just go ahead and unmute and ask.
Sorry, that was me that it won't leave.
Oh, okay. Can't put your hand
I don't know
down.
how to
I'll
take it
lower
out.
it for you. It's gone.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So can you see the activity, remove your limiting beliefs? So you see in the screen now?
I see it.
Okay. And so the video was about how to use scripts. So basically, it's a short video. We'll find you the link directly to that. Unfortunately, it's embedded in the PowerPoint slides. We can send you those slides, maybe, and we'll get that video, or I'll ask the region to put that video up on the Facebook page. It's just a short video. It's Jeff Glover. He has Jeff Glover U, and like I said, he's a master of scripts. So the benefit of asking questions versus telling is one of the things he talked about. What do you guys think is the benefit of asking questions in a conversation versus telling?
I think it shows your audience that you're listening. You're more interested in what they have to say versus pushing your ideas on them.
When somebody asks you a question rather than tells you something, what happens in your internal world?
Feel like they're interested in you.
What else?
Well, if
Somebody asks you a question, what goes on in here?
I was just gonna add that if you don't ask, you don't know what is they're looking for.
Right.
So you might be giving them, I guess, useless information.
Right. So you can talk and talk and talk, and if it's not what they're interested in, they're not going to really grasp it or engage. When you start talking to them or asking them questions, it starts making them look inward, which makes them reflect on it more, which makes them hear you better and engage with you more. Does that make sense? And so what are some of the things that you can do in a conversation to show that you are truly listening? He talked about it on there. I'm sorry if you didn't get that part. I mean, we did have captions underneath, but I'm just going to tell you. Mirror and match, and he also added mimic. So in bold, we're taught to mirror and match, and we actually would spend, some time sitting across from 2 or 3 people in a group and talking to one person would be the seller, one person would be the listing agent, and then there'd be an observer. And you as the listing agent are doing a listing presentation, and you're mirroring and matching the potential client, which means if they lean forward, you lean forward. If they lean back, you lean back. If they speak slowly, you slow your rate of speech down. If they speak quickly and they just want to get to the point, then you're going to speed up and you're going to talk faster, right? Because you're going to mirror and match what they do and how they sound and mimic. So when you do that, it creates a bond between you, and they start to like you more because people like people that are like they are, right? And so it's just a psychological thing, and it creates a bigger bond. Then you ask them questions, and they understand that you're genuinely interested in their motivation and in what they're thinking. And that allows you to, number one, get more information. And number two, serve them better, right? And create more rapport. Any questions on that? Mirroring and matching and mimicking. Have you ever heard this in any other aspect? Like with your children, with your employer, in any other line of work you ever were in where you had to mirror and match and understand and nod? And anybody?
There was an interesting study done at Harvard a few years ago about the hiring process. Not it didn't have anything to do with real estate, but their conclusion was that people hire people who the interviewee, if they get the impression the interviewee likes the interviewer, they're more likely to hire them. Like not necessarily skills related, just like if they feel like they want to work with the person, even more than liking the interviewer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're being interviewed and you're mirroring and matching the interviewer, you're probably more likely to get the job.
Right.
Right. And Kevin, dating, yeah, like, hey, it's kind of the same thing, right? Love that you threw that in there. You should definitely be mirroring and matching some of that, right? So that you hear and feel understood, and it creates rapport. It's powerful. So just keep that in mind in your meetings, in your appointments, because the 5 activities of a real estate agent are to lead generate,
Anyone? Anyone? Looks
Anyone
like we-
besides Lucy? Lead generate.
Follow
Number
up.
2.
Yay.
Lead follow up. Woo! Number 3. Or we say 3.
Practice your craft.
Practice your craft. Script and role play. Practice your craft. Number 4.
Go on appointments.
Go on appointments. Number 5.
Negotiate.
Negotiate. In those 5 situations, how many of them, well, okay, let's take out practice your craft, but, or not. When you are in any of those 5 activities, in which of those are you using language and talking to people? Any of them?
Yep.
Which
All.
ones?
All of them.
Only all of them.
Right.
See why I chose scripts to be the class I want to teach? Because it's the foundation for everything, you guys. So you've got the scripts. The scripts are the words that we use. So here's another thing that Jeff Glover said. The words we use are only 7% of the communication. 93% of the conversation is nonverbal. Okay, that means not the words. So it's the tonality, it's the pace, it's the body language, it's the eye contact.
And can you repeat that? What is 7%? Who said that?
7% of communication is the words we use. Lucy, you could type that in. 7% of communication is the words we use. 93% of communication is everything else, which is why in texting, a lot of it's lost, which is why somebody invented emojis, right? So you could put a little emotion into your texting. Thank goodness. I mean, this is my favorite emoji. You know, I use it all the time because I want people to know that it was said in a nice way, right? Because without the nonverbal, the face-to-face or the at least on the phone or something, you lose so much of the communication. So we're going to give you the scripts, which are the words, which are 7% of your communication. The other 93% is still super important, right? So that's why you script and role play. Number 3, script and role play, practice your craft. It's because it's not just the words, which you're going to memorize and you're going to internalize those words, because when you do internalize them, you're going to become a more powerful and successful real estate agent. When you internalize those scripts, then you can focus on the delivery of them, the tonality, the pace. Sometimes I talk really fast and I can just talk over people and they do the, you know, depending on the type of person, they might not understand anything I said, right? And then sometimes, like when Mo Anderson comes to your market center and she speaks really slowly, you can't talk that fast when you're talking to Mo because you got to match her pace and it just feels more comfortable, right? Well, it's the same thing with a client. If you've got a client that's a slow moving, methodical, making lists, you walk into their house and they've already got a checklist for you, like how many of these things do you want me to fix? You know that they're probably a pretty high C, maybe with some S, and they're going to want you to slow it down. If you're talking to a high D that keeps looking at their watch and they want to get you in and out, you might pick up the pace of your language, right? So it's all these things in addition to the words you use that are going to create success. Mirror, match, and mimic. Anybody have any questions about mirror, match, and mimic? It's a fun exercise. You can bring this to your market center if they're not already doing it in one of your script and role play groups. Have 2 people, you know, partner up and have one of them speak as fast as they can to the other one and have the other one respond with very, very slow language. And then have the other person respond very, very quickly and have the other person respond again with slow language. That will be the most messed up conversation you ever listen to. It will, your head will spin. You'll feel like you're sideways because it's just not right, right? So realize that you might be a fast talker, you might be a slow talker. Doesn't matter. We all have our own natural pace, Mine probably tends to be a little faster. When you meet with somebody, a client or a customer that you want to turn into a client, you got to kind of size them up and gauge what their pace is. And then you've got to figure out how to match them. You might have to speed up. You might have to slow down. Maybe they're already at your pace and you're going to immediately hit it off and they're going to know right away they're going to list with you or buy with you. Does that make sense? Have you ever thought about this stuff?
And Anne, can I share something about tonality? That was an example probably in the first bold ever. And I apologize for the cat because he keeps coming into this class here. He wants to learn too. One of the examples is when it comes to for tone, that's so important, is we were given a sentence that said, I didn't say Bob took that. And you can say it, I didn't say Bob took that, or 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 I didn't say Bob took that. So, you just change the emphasis and your tone when you're speaking, and it can completely change the meaning of a sentence. So
Right.
keep
Great
that in
point.
mind.
Exactly. Love it. That's a perfect point. So let me just. Okay. I'm gonna share my screen. Okay. Can you see the slide again? Where are we? Oops. Maybe not. How's that? Can you see the slide? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So understanding scripts. This is how you practice scripts. You might want to take your picture, take your
Going out.
take a picture of that.
Screenshot.
Screenshot. This is how you practice scripts. This is how you internalize scripts. I mean, it's a thing. It's like, when you're first learning how to do anything, there's a method and there's a technique to learn it, right? This is the method. And if we were all standing in a classroom together, which gosh, I kind of wish we were, we would stand up in a big group and we would read the first sentence of the script out loud 5 times, just as fast as we could. We would just read it blah, 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 as a group. Like it would be super loud. And then we would all smile and we would say it again 5 times. And then you would do the second line of the script 10 times. Then you're going to work on memorizing it. I don't know about you guys, but when I was in the 3rd grade, I had to memorize if Nancy Hanks came back as a ghost seeking news of what she loved most, she'd ask first, where's my son? What's happened to Abe? What's he done? I mean, that was 3rd grade and I can still recite that poem. That was a long time ago. It was the 60s, for crying out loud. So if you know how to memorize something, dig back to 3rd grade or whenever it is that you had to memorize something and memorize these scripts. What they're giving you here is a method to do that. You might have a better method. I mean, my dad taught me to memorize the script from the bottom up, or the poem. So I would learn the last stanza first, and then I would add the next to the last, and then I would work up, because the beginning is always the easiest to remember. So if you nail the end and then work your way backwards, that's another way to memorize. One thing about doing these scripts is to read it ridiculously fast. You're going to do this in front of the mirror. You're going to do it in front of your spouse or your partner or your kids or your cat or your colleague at work, and do it as fast as you can, and then do it as fast as you can with a smile. It sounds silly. You're going to feel silly. And Lucy, have you done this with us in Bold?
Oh, yes.
Super fun, right? You feel ridiculous. It's almost to the absurd. And then guess what? It actually works. So that's.
And you can also try recording yourself saying it and playing it back, because some people learn best by writing things down. I use cue cards. Okay, now my dogs are going to get in on the class.
Oh gosh.
Like Animal Farm here today. So writing them down. Some people remember better when they write it down a sentence at a time. And then again, recording it and listening to yourself. And then you can also check in on your tone and embedded commands and downswings and all the rest of that good stuff.
Right. And that's when you want to become a true master of scripts, you're going to take the language of real estate, which is,
Language of sales.
language of sales, right? Language of real estate is your lore, language of sales, which they're gonna teach you to write your own scripts based on any situation that you might come into. So we're gonna give you books and books and books of scripts, and then you're gonna learn to write your own scripts. When you become, the more advanced you get in your career, you're gonna come up with scripts that work for you because you're in Providence, or you're in Boston, or you're in Hartford, or whatever, and there's going to be things that you need to say. Lucy Tucker, do you have anything that you say specifically about Portland, Maine, when you've got buyers? I mean, I'm sure you do, right? Like,
I
hey,
do.
we've got a working waterfront, the East End is such and such, the West End is such and such. Like, if you're going to talk about your community, those are scripts you're going to develop that are going to be specific to you and your market. We have scripts right now that are specific to COVID, about how you can show properties, or how you have to be pre-approved, or, waiving appraisal because you're offering so much more than market value. These are all scripts that had to be developed in the last year that we weren't even using 2 years ago. So you're going to develop your own scripts, but let's just start with learning the scripts that Keller Williams is providing us, because that's a great place to start. And trust me, the people that created these documents, did it with you in mind. And where's my script?
And how much time do you spend driving around in your car? If you do record those scripts and you play them, I'm looking at Tara right now with that sweet baby and saying, this will be the same effect that Anne had with her kids and my boys. You're playing them in the car, your kids start to learn these scripts.
Seriously, Mike Cooper can still, he can listen to Diana Kokoska with the best of them and repeat it back. And he's, like I said, he just turned 20, but he started listening to them when he was about 13 or 14. And he just closed his first buyer.
Lucy, I love how your cat has no fear and is bathing herself in front of 66 people. I love it.
He's 21 pounds and he's trying to get a part of this class. I'm afraid he's going to attack me any second.
Uninhibited. Okay, so guys, it's time to dig into your script book. Am I sharing my script book with me right here, right? So like I said, this is a 42-page book. You all have it. Hopefully you've downloaded it to your computer. It's not a bad idea to print it out, or at least print out the pages that have the scripts on them if you don't want to spend paper, and ink on the cover. I get it. That's a lot of black right there. But once you get into page 6, there's some information there that talks about, the general rules and your mindset. So when you start to call people, you're going to set your mindset, right? And I remember Lucy said, oh, they're not going to want to hear from me. They're not going to be home. She had all those limiting beliefs, right? So we always start with, I come from contribution. People will welcome my call. You can come off mute or you can stay on mute, but I want to see your mouths moving right now, and just repeat that. I always come from contribution. People will welcome my call. Say that out loud to yourself. And smile. I always come from contribution and people will welcome my call. Right? And then we're going to just zing you with only call people that you have permission to call. So, honor the do not call list, please. So this, if we were standing in a room together, we would be standing up, practicing this script with each other. This is how it would go if we were in a room. You would pick a script, you would pick a partner. Partner A would stand up and follow the 6 steps that I just asked you to take a picture of. And then partner B would hold partner A accountable to doing it that way. 5 times with a smile, 10 times, right? And then you're going to switch roles and you're going to have the other partner B do it to partner A, and partner A is going to hold partner B account, whatever, one partner is going to hold the other partner accountable to doing it the right way. Once we got through that, we would, with the same partner A would say the entire script conversationally instead of wicked fast. And partner B would hold them accountable, and then you would switch. And so this is what we mean by the third activity of a real estate agent: scripted role play. Practice your craft. It feels funny. It feels kind of silly, Like if you've ever acted in a play, you're practicing your scripts and you're doing it in front of another friend or real estate agent or somebody that knows what you're supposed to be saying. They're looking at the script, you're reading the script until you get to the point where you can deliver the script flawlessly and seamlessly with tonality in the right pace. Okay, so this is how the activity goes. Kind of hard to do that today, you know, and 70 of us on a screen. And so we're just going to talk about how to do it. And then you're going to go and do it in your own market center, in your own living room, or out on the sidewalk, or I don't know, over at Starbucks, wherever you want to do it. And just practice with your friends. Will you all do that? Go like this if you're on board with doing that, or raise your digital hand. Is there anybody that says, I'm not going to practice scripts. This seems crazy and silly and hokey, and this is ridiculous. Raise your hand. Come on, fess up. Nellie's not going to do it. She's lying. She's doing it. So, you know, you can do it or you cannot do it. Here to tell you, purpose of Ignite Spark 3 is to convince you that there's value in this and that you should do it. Because the 5 activities of a real estate agent are to lead generate, lead follow up, practice your scripts, and role play, which means tonality and all that. Go on appointments, negotiate contracts. Nothing else matters if you don't do those 5 things. Make sense? Okay. So
I love
we
what
are,
Heather said, and I just want to add that she's got in the chat that she's thankful for the scripts because it takes a lot of stress out of talking to people.
right? So all those questions you guys had yesterday about, I don't know what to say. Now you do, okay? So do you all have your Ignite script book up? Like I said, it's 42 pages. Page number 5 in the book, which is page number 8 in the PDF, is the new to real estate script. You guys have that? I'm gonna share it. There we go. New to real estate. Can you see that?
None of my page numbers are matching up with what you guys have. In my book's not 42 pages, it's only 20 something.
Okay. Lucy,
I'll find a script book.
so just in the email for the that I just forwarded you this morning, Lucy, is the link to the resources, and that's the Google Drive that you should be pulling these out of.
And I have posted that a couple times, but I will say also, someone asked, how are we going to get that afterwards? If you go down to the bottom and you right click, there's 3 little dots there. You can actually save the chat. Yes, it will give you everything that everybody has said, but you will be able to find those links in there again.
Yeah.
Or you can cut and paste them now into another window so they're ready to go when you get out of class.
Also in the bold, I mean, not the bold, the Ignite, KW New England Ignite Facebook group. Are you all in that yet? Because these resources are posted in there, and the video recording of this class, for example, will be uploaded to YouTube, and then I think the link posted in there also within 24, 48 hours every day. So when you registered for Ignite, you should have received an email that sent you a link to all the resources, and it's going to have all your participant guides. And this, it's called KW New England, KWNE Ignite Script Book PDF. That's what it's called. I did not change the name of it. You could see that. So anyway, if you don't have it in front of you or in your thing, I've got it up on the screen for you, right? So new to real estate. Hey, this is Lucy, Ann, Rich, Tara, Paula, Isabel. And then these are some forward options. We talked about this yesterday. F is for family, O is for occupation, R is for recreation, and D is for dreams. So this is just like, I don't know what to say to these people. What do I say when I call someone and get them on the other end of the phone? So we, you know, this forward thing is a pretty well-known icebreaker technique that people have been using for decades to break the ice. So you go, hey, how's your family? You know, people are just going to start telling you, wow, my youngest just went to college, or somebody just started kindergarten, or whatever, right? Oh, great. That's awesome. Are you still working at IDEX or LL Bean or the grocery store, whatever? Are you still enjoying, you know, skiing? Do you guys still ski? What do you do? Did you ever pursue that, boat trip up the coast that you were talking about? Whatever, anything that right? And you don't have to do all four. Maybe you do family and recreation and you don't talk about their occupation, or it doesn't matter. These are just ideas for you to use. Once you break the ice with a little bit of personal stuff, then you jump into this real estate stuff, because you're like, how do I break the ice? Well, I'm calling to share that I'm now a real estate agent with Keller Williams Realty. I thought of you because I knew that you'd be someone to help me grow my business, especially since my track record and commitment to doing the very best. I'd like to share my free real estate app with you. It's so easy to check what's for sale and what price on your street, your neighborhood, or anywhere actually in the United States or Canada. I can send you a text with a link. Does that sound good? You get them to say yes, and then get your phone out and text them the darn link. If clearly you have their phone number because you're on the phone with them, right? If you're on the landline with them, then ask them for their cell phone so that you can text it over to them. And then you keep going. I'd like to offer you real estate update on your neighborhood, right? And you can read all this. So when a real estate update on your neighborhood is, you're going to add them to your command contacts, and you're going to set them up on a neighborhood smart plan, or a neighborhood, just set them up on neighborhoods, and it will send them an email. You can choose to send it to them monthly, bi-weekly, however you want. So that's one option, right? So that's page 5. Page 6. Here's a different, if you don't like that one, here's a different one. Same thing, forward. And then I'd like to share some exciting news. I've moved my real estate business over to Keller Williams. So who was it, Chuck, that said you started somewhere else and you just moved over to KW in July?
That's correct.
Yeah. So here you go. Great excuse to call people. Hey, I started my real estate career last winter and I just moved over to Keller Williams. And just because my company name has changed, the level of service I offer hasn't. Well, actually, maybe it has. Probably gotten better because you learned.
Oh, it has.
So you can change that, right? My company name has changed. And with that, I've got all these new tools and resources, including a branded app, right? Or don't say branded, but my clients will continue to get all the enthusiasm and hard work. And as you already know, I'll do whatever it takes to help people. May I count on you to help me grow my business, right? If you don't like that one, use this one. Hey, how's the family? I've been busy growing my real estate business and working with great clients like you. I want to share that I have a personal goal to help 25 families get into the home of their dreams this year. As you already know, I'll do whatever it takes, right? These are pretty long scripts. So, I mean, I have mine in honestly, a black 3-ring binder with Mylar sheets, and I have them tabbed. So I might have a tab that says Ford icebreakers or whatever. And then all the Ford ones would be behind that, so I could flip. Then I have another tab that says seller pre-qualifying scripts. And then I have another tab that says buyer scripts. I have a tab that says FSBO scripts. I have a tab, right? Like, we have these notebooks full of, every time I find a new script, I print it and I put it in a Mylar sheet and I put it in the right category in my book. Keep the book on my desk. When I'm making calls to, it doesn't matter who, got the script book in front of me, because the last thing I want to do is stumble over my words. And so these are tools, right? Once somebody gives you a referral, you're going to call the referrals. What are you going to say to that referral? Oh, wait, you don't have to figure it out. It's right here for you. It's right here for you, you guys. You're going to call the referrals. This is what you're going to say. Okay. Calling personal and professional service industries. Okay. People that you've done business with. Hey, Joe, I'm Tara at Keller Williams Realty. I'm in the process of creating a list of preferred businesses and service providers to give my clients. Since I frequently have clients ask me for a good dry cleaner, and you're my dry cleaner, I only want trusted companies to refer them to. Since I've had excellent service from you, would you and your business be interested in being included? What's Joe going to say? Well, hell yeah, right? Of course. Great. I'd like to establish these professional referral partnerships to help grow each other's business. It's not just one way, Joe. So if I were to refer clients to you, would you be willing to refer your clients that are looking to buy or sell a home to me, with the assurance that I'll provide them with a high level of customer service that you expect? And if he says no, because my wife is a realtor, you might want to say, you know what, Joe, it's been great doing business with you. If not, let's, get his contact information, add him to your database, put him on a smart plan, and get him some contact information so that he can start referring people to you. And then these are people that you haven't done business with. This is cold calling on a business, talking to the business owner and basically saying the same thing. This gives you social media messages. Okay, this isn't even something you have to speak. This is, you're going to type this up. How hard is that? And then when we get down here to page 15, this is the next script. Okay, same warnings, same things, but look at all these scripts, you guys. Look at this table of contents, best practices in communications. 3 or 4 pages of listing presentation, pricing, closing the deal, seller objections, pricing objections, staging objections, buyer consultation scheduling, closing the agreement to get an exclusive buyer rep agreement, explaining the benefits of pre-approval. I already heard you guys talk about that, like convincing these buyers why they need to get pre-approved. Objections to setting a buyer appointment. Oh, we don't have time. How to handle, I don't want to sign with any buyer agent. I just want to call the listing agent, whatever. There's scripts for that. After the agreement is signed, explaining closing costs, explaining your showing process. Look at this, you guys, pages and pages and pages and pages of scripts that are already created for you. All you've got to do is study them, practice them, internalize them, make them part of your daily dialogues, and then use them to go have powerful conversations with potential buyers, potential sellers, current buyers, current sellers, co-broke agents, lenders, and close more business. Does this seem helpful?
Huge.
Okay. If you guys don't want to save a script book or print a script book, I don't even know. Because like I said, I was 10 years in the business before anybody gave me a script book. And I hit a ceiling and thank God I made some money. I don't even know how I did it, because then I took Bold in the fall of 2015 and was given these scripts and I was like, oh my gosh, photocopied it, put them in Mylar sheets, started making a book. And like I said, that's the year my business almost doubled. And it was 2 things: mindset, because we squashed all those limiting beliefs, and scripts. Really, I mean, there's a lot of things. Those are the 2 main things I would say. And then once we graduate from Bold, we go back to Keller Williams, and all this stuff that we've learned in Bold about scripts and about mindset is just reinforced every day in the conversations we have in our market center and with other agents. So, is any of this helpful? Yeah, I'd love to have some people come off mute and just tell me what you've heard so far. I mean, it's 10:45. We're about halfway through, a little more. And tell me what is going to be helpful to you from what you've learned today.
I think that, I think that, like you said, making the folder and having it accessible, it almost will be like a little blanket, security blanket, just to make life easier. And then you get used to it and practicing and. Oh.
Yeah.
For me,
Anybody else?
For me, it was just identifying my limiting beliefs. And then I actually I'm hoping it turns into a deal, but I received a lead from a friend this past weekend, and I'm a brand new agent. So I just signed with Keller Williams on July 27th. And it's someone that lives not immediately in my direct area, but it would be a very sizable listing. So as a new agent, I was kind of like, well, I guess, am I qualified to do it? So once I wrote that limiting belief down, I actually followed up and sent my text message to get the lead's number. So that was very.
Did you do that
helpful.
today during this class, Elizabeth?
I did.
Because you wrote down your limiting belief in that exercise?
Yes.
Okay, we're done here, guys. Like, if nothing else comes out of this class today, Elizabeth wrote down her limiting belief, recognized it as a limiting belief, and then I took an action to squash it. Like, can we all get like one of these for Elizabeth? Come on, that was amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Oh, thank
That
you.
was like, seriously, I'm a little right now.
I will keep you all posted. I cross your fingers.
Is it over $700,000?
So thank you.
If it's over 700,000, then you are entitled to use the luxury branding. So reach out to whoever's in charge of luxury in your market center and get their help with that.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you
Go
very much.
get it. That's amazing.
And everyone now has 2 links in the chat. So definitely no excuses for not knowing what to say. There's 2. Anne added one that's a 14-page script book. And then the one above that is the resources I have that has the master script book, which is the 44-page script book.
Okay. So yeah, and this, when you go into Ignite Toolkit in the shared Google folder, that's where I got that one. So there's a lot of stuff. So who else has an aha from today? I'd really love to just hear some of the things that, I mean, I know I talk a lot and I talk fast, and I want to know what tidbits you grabbed that are resonating with you, that you feel are going to actually help you in your business.
I'll add something if you don't mind.
Great.
So what I took away from that is the script is there to make you comfortable. So you kind of have a game plan, a roadmap of what information you want to give and get. And a script doesn't need to be word for word what somebody else wrote. It could be your own take on getting that information to the client and getting their information from you, however you feel it's comfortable.
Yeah. It's okay to customize them. I like that. And you know, feeling comfortable. When you feel comfortable, do you think you're going to make the other party feel comfortable?
Yeah, it's more of a very nice conversation. You build rapport, you build a bond.
Right.
You build loyalty.
If you're nervous and stumbling over the words that you need because you haven't really gone over them or thought about them, and you're sitting in front of somebody, you know, offering to help them with probably their biggest purchase of their life or their biggest sale of their life, financial transaction, and you're not comfortable with the words you need to use, how's that going to make them feel? Are they going to tap into your nervousness?
Of course.
Yeah. So it's got to be clear to you that becoming comfortable with your real estate language and dialogues and conversations is going to ultimately make you more comfortable, which will make your customer or your client more comfortable, right? And when everybody's comfortable, what's going to happen? Magic's going to happen, right? So I'd like to see somebody raise their hand if they're not going to practice scripts after this class. Okay, good. What are some other ahas that you've taken away from today so far?
Well, I like to say that recording yourself, that would be very helpful because you can record and so you'll sound more genuine when you make the telephone call and have that conversation.
Yeah. So would you record yourself on your phone, on your camera? Would you just record your voice, or would you do a video so you can see how your body language is at the same time?
That's a good idea. I would record myself on the phone. That's how I would really do it. And I would also have to interpret these conversations because I'm a brand new agent, so I only have like 7 clients, 7 customers that are looking to buy.
That's a lot.
Half of them are only Spanish speaking. So I've been, doing it with what I know, but these scripts definitely make it easier. I just have to go through and read them and translate them as well.
Okay, so Isabel, I think we can probably help you get the Spanish versions. They're probably already written in Spanish. We just need to talk to somebody in KWRI because I guarantee these scripts are written in multiple languages because we teach Bold in,
multiple countries,
Mexico and wherever. So
right.
we can make it so you probably won't have to translate them. I'm pretty sure.
I can also agree with Isabel on that because I know for myself, English is also second language, and having the scripts helps a lot with that confidence, and also knowing that we all have the same insecurity about the confidence issue is helpful. So, I mean, that's where it comes down to at the end of the day is just understanding and listening the interpretations that's being handed over to you. And for myself, I know I have to slow down when I speak because I have a tendency to speak too fast. And with my accent, some people don't always understand me. And I have no problem repeating myself, but I would rather want someone to understand me and not just sit there and nod and not say anything. So yeah, I can totally understand where Isabel's coming from, where the accent sometimes does play a role and a different language.
This is great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great.
So I would say reach out to your market center at leadership and get some help finding those resources in other languages. And if you, I'm going to type my email down here, but I mean, you can,
What's your email? Well, you're typing your email.
It's behind me on my thing, but
Heather asked about signing up for Bold. I'll check and see behind the scenes if we have one coming up soon. It has gone mostly digital. If you have an opportunity, once everything opens up to do it in person, that is the best. But the virtual format also accomplishes something. And then also, I just wanted to share with you another trick for recording. I have started using Zoom and setting a meeting for myself and recording that meeting so you can talk right to yourself and record it for your script, and then you'll be able to play it back and you'll be able to see your mannerisms. You'll be able to see are you using your hands? Are you not using your hands? What's the expression on your face? So that's a great way to also see, not just hear what you're saying, but also see how you're saying it.
Yeah. And the old fashioned way before we had Zoom is just to do it in front of the mirror. So do that too. And standing up and practicing your scripts feels a little bit different than sitting down and practicing your scripts. So try it both ways, because there will be times when you're standing, usually with a buyer, you might be outside a property or inside a property, and got to be careful what you say inside because cameras. But being able to think on your feet and not have the scripts in front of you because you're in person, standing up, maybe on the hood of a car right there. You gotta have that's why you gotta have this stuff internalized. You don't always have your black notebook in front of you, right? So any other ahas? Valuable? Not valuable?
Oh, so I just got an aha from Nellie actually, and I'm so glad she spoke because I would consider myself, obviously I'm an American. I was born here and English is my first language, but when it's your first language, you tend to be lazy. And what I like about what you said, Nellie, and watching you speak, I just wanted to say to you, your pronunciation and the way that you're supposed to speak in English, you're actually doing it better than I am. So that's what my aha moment is I want to actually speak more like you. And thank you for sharing your discouragement. It's actually an encouragement for me. So
it's called the Queen's English.
I like it.
I like it too. I'd hire you. A lot of people would, according to the chat. So, we're almost done with really the content of today's Spark 3, which is, language. And remember, what's a script? What's another word for a script? Or phrase? Anybody remember? My favorite bold coach, what she taught me, a script is
just a powerful way to have a conversation.
just a powerful way
Well
to have a
done, Carol.
conversation. It's just a powerful way to have a conversation. And when you signed up to be a real estate agent, let's just do a show of hands. If you know whether you are an introvert or an extrovert, if you're an extrovert, put a digital hand up. Nellie's half and half, I get that. When you pictured your life, so we got a bunch of extroverts, and we got a lot of people that, I don't know, we don't have cameras on, or maybe they don't have access to that. But when you picture before you got licensed, when you pictured yourself as a real estate agent, did you picture yourself interacting with people frequently and talking to them? Or did you picture yourself sitting at a desk, filling out contracts? Put it in the chat, people or things. People, talking to 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 people. Guess what we're talking about today? We're talking about how to talk to people. So, yes, introvert. I have definitely swung that way since I got holed up at home for a while. And yeah, we're still talking to people like this. And you know what? 2 years ago, I was teaching Ignite in a room across the parking lot. And I usually had, I don't know, on a good day, I had 20 people. Sometimes I taught Ignite and I had 6. And it was great because we could stand up and get into partners and role play and do all that. And yet, because of COVID, I've got to engage with all y'all. I'm not even Southern, and I'm going to say all y'all. But, 40, 50, 60 people, you guys get to get this content through the entire region, which has really stepped up big time since COVID to deliver these classes for you guys. So I would really encourage you to stick with the Ignite program. Most of us, I think, finish early. It's not always 3 hours because some of the things that we would normally do in Ignite, like put our screen on mute and then go lead generate, which y'all should do whether we stop the Zoom or not. Do the actual activities where we stand up and role play with each other. Like, we're not necessarily doing that. So Ignite, instead of being 3 hours, it might be 2 or 2.5. But take that third hour to put into practice the things that we went over. Because when you reflect back on what you've just been talking about, or somebody's been talking at you about for 2 hours, that's when it really solidifies inside your brain. And that's when it becomes something that you can put into practice. So just like when you wrote down those limiting beliefs, those of you that actually did it, and then actually took a few minutes to think about how to overcome that limiting belief, look at the results you got already. So it's like 50 something of you on here still. If you did not take that opportunity to write down a limiting belief, dig deep inside your belly right now and find a limiting belief and write it down, and then ponder how you're going to overcome that. And if you don't know how you're going to overcome it, you just can't figure it out, call one of your buddies from this class or from your own market center. I'm going to give you guys some time at the end to share your email addresses in the chat and maybe make some connections for script and role play partners. If you don't already have a strong scripting and role playing habit at home or in your market center or with another friend, it can be a phone call. Gosh, Lucy, I mean, some of my best script partners were people where we called each other at 6:45 every morning and we script practice from 6:45 to 7. That was it. Pick up the phone, hey, Lucy, I'm doing FISBOs today. Ring, ring. And then Lucy says, hello.
Hi.
Hi. I say, hi, my name's Ann Shinkat. I'm with Keller Williams Realty, and I'm calling because I see that your house is for sale. Blah, blah, blah. I do the script. She gives me some objections. I manage the objection handlers based on my script notebook that is sitting on my desk. And then that takes about 7 minutes. And then she tells me what she wants to do. She gives me a script. I give her 2 or 3 objections. She does the objection handlers, hang up. See you, Lucy. Talk to you tomorrow. We don't stay on the phone and take up each other's mornings. And I don't ask her how the cat is and nothing. It's 15 minutes, because when you start getting personal and letting your high eye go crazy, script practice is going to get out of control, and you're going to be like, oh my God, it takes up 45 minutes because we go off on these tangents and we start telling each other about our deals. Don't do that. Make it 15 minutes and just do it every day consistently with your buddy. And if you really want to talk to him, go, hey, thanks for the script practice. Want to have lunch? And do it later, right? So if you commit to make it simple, you will have a script partner and you will practice your craft in a way that will lead you to more success in your business.
Practice makes perfect.
Will you guys commit to practicing scripts 4 times a week for 15 minutes?
Yes.
That's all. If you want to do it 5 times a week for 30 minutes, yes. If you want to do it 6 times a week for an hour, awesome. The more you do it, the better you're going to get. And some of that maybe is at home alone, and you're still going to need to do it with a script partner, because you need people bouncing those objections, so that you have to think on your feet.
We have a couple of hands raised, and I
Love
just
it.
want to make sure that are those for questions. And
I
then
think they're
also,
extroverts, but if they have a
I
question,
know,
go
I was
ahead.
gonna say, if you're an extrovert, you can keep your hand up. If you don't have a question, Danielle, Carol, or Mallory, I will lower your hands. And then we have a couple questions here from Kelvin. Christina, is based on what you said, and how do you shorten conversations that run longer than planned?
So Lucy, I could see this happening with you and me. I
Yep.
feel like maybe it also happened this morning at 9:30 at 8:30 when you and I were actually on the phone. So let's do that. So yeah, Lucy, that was a great script practice. Thank you so much. Always fun scripting with you. And then now try to go off topic too, Lucy.
Yeah, I got a couple of things I want to talk to you about too. It was great, and that conversation was great, but I got to share with you what happened to me yesterday when I tried to use this script.
Oh my God, you know what, Lucy? I would love to hear that. Maybe we can put that on the docket for a conversation later this afternoon. I've got a commitment coming right up at 7 o'clock, and so I really got to run, but love you, mean it.
Okay. And here's another thing that I would add, being a high I. So high eyes, if you're not familiar with the DISC profile, they do like to talk a lot, and they can talk forever. If you know you're going to be having a conversation with a high I, always start it off with, I just have a few minutes, or this is just a professional call today, or 2 minutes of your time, and really stick to that 2 minutes, or 10 minutes of your time, or I promise we'll be off before 8:10, or whatever it is. If you start it with that, then there's no feelings hurt, because again, high eyes also don't want to hurt people's feelings. So you're setting those parameters, you're setting those putting up those blockades for protecting your other time that you need to get on and do other lead generation or call the next person. So
yeah, I love that, by setting it up at the beginning of the conversation. So just so you know, Lucy, our time today is only for 15 minutes. Is that okay? Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, great. So when I hang up on you at precisely 7 o'clock, you're going to understand why, right? Okay, good.
Won't take it personally.
Right. Yeah. And another thing that they teach us that I've heard over and over in Bold is, oh, you know what? I just realized I have another commitment. Can we get together at another time? Can you send me some times, and let's do that. I have another commitment. It doesn't mean you have an appointment. It doesn't mean whatever your commitment might be, that at 8 o'clock you said you were going to start your lead gen, and it's now 8 o'clock, right? So it's a commitment. It can be a commitment to yourself, and you're not lying if you tell that other person on the other end of the phone, you know what? I just realized I have another commitment right now. It's been great talking to you. I'll text you some times when maybe we could get together for a cup of coffee or.
Exactly.
That help, Kelvin, Christina?
And then Isabel
Yes.
also put in there that she put her contact information. And again, I'm sure before this is out, we're going to be having you guys pair up as script partners or find somebody on this call. But she's already raised her hand about.
I'm going to share this screen that they're telling me to share, whatever, just back to the, this. So this is what we're supposed to do now. If we were in a real classroom situation, you would be arranging a script partner and spending 15 minutes reciting scripts face-to-face or virtually via FaceTime. I mean, honestly, you know, back in the day, we didn't even have FaceTime, right? We just did it by the phone. But I mean, if you can do it by FaceTime, that's even better. Number 2, record yourself. We already talked about that. Saying scripts on your phone, playing back. I love, love, love Lucy's idea. Everybody can have a free Zoom account and you just record yourself. And then, do you have any other ideas for building a daily habit of script practice? What else could you do besides these 2 things? Any other ideas? Hearing none, I would say Lucy had a great idea. Play them back in your car. I mean, you guys are in your car, you're real estate agents, right? I mean, we used to get a recording in bold of Diana Kokoska doing scripts on a
amazing
CD that I had in my car.
Me too.
And then they gave it to us on a USB thing, and my car didn't have a USB, and so I couldn't play them. I still have my CDs, but you can record it on whatever and play it back to yourself while you're driving. Record your script practice with your partner on your phone, right? And then play it back to yourself through the Bluetooth in your car while you're driving. Instead of listening to pop radio, listen to that. This is where we're supposed to recap an aha. We did that a little bit early. So this is what we like to ask you. How has your thinking changed since 9 o'clock this morning? Anybody? It would make my day if I heard one more thing that, you know, somebody's thinking changed around scripts.
Scripts are really helpful now. I could definitely see that.
Appreciate that.
I just wanted to say in regards to scripts, the best thing that I took from that is there are a lot of, actually I do like role playing with my husband who likes to act as a hobby. So something like that, if you put it in that perspective, that's kind of like the best way to go about it so that you can perform at your best. And yeah, just being genuine overall.
That's great. Is your husband a real estate agent?
Yeah, we're both realtors.
Oh, okay, good.
Listening.
Because he would know what the objections are, you know, like when you call a for sale by owner or when you call a seller that needs a price reduction, you know, he would know what those objections would be. Price reduction. Well, I don't really need to sell, so I'm just going to keep the price where it is, right? Like that's a common objection, and there's a script for that, right? So that's great if you've got a partner like that that loves to role play. Anybody else? Is there anybody who, when you started this class this morning, you're like, oh, scripts, that's crap. Not like, I don't believe in scripts. They're forced. It doesn't sound like me. Is there anybody, come on, be honest. Is there anybody who felt that way coming into the class?
Me,
Debbie.
for sure.
Thank you.
I think everyone who had to listen to me yammer on yesterday knows that I'm not a huge fan of scripts, I guess, in general. But I think one of my least favorite phrases before starting here was trust the process. So for me, I'm trying to embrace that and trust the process. Especially listening to people at Mega Camp, it obviously works. You know, the scripts work, the lead calls work, care calls work. So it's just kind of trying to, that's, one of my biggest,
I love that.
What were we doing earlier when we were talking about, things that we have to change our mindset on.
I love it. So anybody else? So how is your thinking at 11:15 versus at 9 o'clock this morning when it comes to the topics we've talked about today? Anything change?
Me or
Yeah,
anyone?
Debbie, I mean, like this morning you were like, I don't really believe in scripts. And now I hope I changed your mind.
I think, yes, you have. I think I'm just sort of sticking to my idea that I'm going to just do what I feel is genuine for me. It will still probably be a script. It just may be tweaked a little bit from what's in the book. You know, as a new agent, you know, maybe I'm not going to focus on just talking to somebody about, you know, how's their life, how's everything going. It's not that I don't care. It's just, I was out to dinner with a couple friends last night. One of them mentioned that, oh, she knows somebody, you know, we were all in a big club together. And I said, oh, I'm going to reach out to everyone that was in our Moms of Multiple club. And she said, oh, I just got a message on Facebook from somebody who's at Keller Williams, another office. And so it was kind of interesting. You know, we were just talking about like people who approach people on Facebook. And I mean, they right away were like, it's just the second somebody friends me out of the blue or messages me, it's like, I know they're selling me something. I know why they're contacting me. So I just think that I kind of, for me, I'm more comfortable just, I don't mind asking for referrals or saying what I'm doing.
Yeah,
I just
great. So here's the thing, you're going to pick the scripts that work for you, right?
Right.
And just know that the people that put together these script books are people who have studied the psychology of language, right?
Right.
And they're, you know, neuro-linguistic programming and things like that. Like there are people that actually know more about language than me, than I do, and than you do, and that everybody on the screen does. And these are the people that wrote these scripts. So when you say trust the process, trust the pros, I mean, yeah, should you make them sound like Debbie? Sure. Should you borrow some of these phrases and some of these strategies from the masters? Like maybe, you know, so there's definitely some combination in there. But the point is, none of you has to invent this from the ground up. You are all being given this tool from Keller Williams, which is going to be your foundation for you to build your own confidence and build your own script library, if you will, which is going to be the basis and the foundation of your business. Well, no, I take that back. Your database is the business, is the foundation of your business. The scripts are the tools that you use to communicate with your database and then with everybody else you come into contact with. Anybody else want to share how their thinking might have changed today, or their feelings or their actions? So these are all the things we talk about. You know, the reason for taking a class is to hopefully learn something which might change your thinking, which might change how you feel about it, which will make you take actions. Because thinking leads to feelings, which leads to action.
I believe that helped me realize that I have more than a choice to choose from the scripts. Before, I didn't notice that we have a lot of options. So now I'm going to try to choose which best fits for me, and maybe I can arrange it my way. I'm going to try to do that.
Exactly.
I just hope I can find a partner that will help me feel more confident. It's another thing that I needed.
So do you have a partner in your market center? Are you looking for somebody on this class today that would partner with you?
Well, I'm looking for someone. If somebody's available, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is anybody else looking for a partner? Like, go ahead and put your information in the chat. So Lucretia says more positive. She's feeling more positive overall. Thank you. Kirk's looking for a script partner. Just opening up the chat right now. So anybody else? Keep going. Has anybody come up with a new action that they're definitely going to take as a result of today's session? Hearing none. Here's the thing. I had a great bold coach also, or I mean, it was an instructor in a class that said, do you have a smart shelf in your office. If I took off my background right now, you'd see this bookcase behind me that has all these manuals, all these books, manuals from classes I went to. And it's like all this stuff. I went to these classes and I learned all this stuff and I was presented with all this information. And then I come back and I put it on my shelf. And then I go back to selling real estate the way I've always done it. If you don't take action on what you learn in a class, it just stays on your shelf and you don't grow and you don't learn. So hopefully there's something today that has made you say, I'm going to start doing that. It's not enough just to think about it. You got to go do something. And remember, there's 5 activities of a real estate agent. How many? 5. Lead generate, lead follow up, practice your craft, go on appointments and negotiate contracts. So practicing the craft is script and role play. That's one of the 5 main activities of a real estate agent. And so after today, it's my hope and my expectation, honestly, that everybody will practice their craft at least 15 minutes, 4 times a week. Daily success habits. So that takes us to that. This is not just for Spark 3. You're going to see this slide every time you take Ignite, right? So every day you should be adding 10 contacts to Command or to your database, your CRM that you're using. Every day you should be having 10 conversations about real estate. That could be a phone call. That could be a text 2-way message. That could be an in-person conversation. Every day you should be writing 10 handwritten notes. And those are usually handwritten notes or a follow-up to one of the calls you had, right? You talk to somebody, hey, it was great connecting with you today. Here's my business card, whatever. And 10 home previews a week. That might be a little aggressive in a COVID market, but you could preview them online, right? Watch some videos. You should be doing that every day if you're starting your career, because that's what's going to get you into real estate. Why is it important to learn, internalize, and personalize scripts? This is sort of a recap. It's going to help you lead generate, which is the #1 activity of a real estate agent. It's going to help you uncover the motivations of your buyers, your sellers, and your co-brokes buyers and sellers, right? The people on the other side. You ask great questions of the co-broke, they might tell you stuff that could be helpful to your client. It's going to help you identify objections, and scripts are going to help you address those objections. It's going to help you handle them. It's going to help you close real estate deals. Scripts are going to help you close deals. Scripts are going to help you speak in terms that the customer understands, because these scripts have been designed to give you the language that other people have already tested. So it's tried and true language, right? You don't have to make it up. Somebody already did it for you, you guys. How cool is that? Go learn them, go read them, use them. It's going to help you build confidence, because once you're able to lead generate effectively with the right language, once you're able to uncover your clients' and motivations, once you're able to identify and handle their objections, once you're closing more deals and able to speak and mirror and match and communicate and build rapport with these clients, all that's going to give you more confidence. Lucy, how much confidence do you have? She's talking to somebody. She's on the phone. Is there anybody on here who has closed more than 10 transactions? Raise your hand. Anyone? Not yet. Okay. I have. You know, I've probably sold, I know I've sold over 500. Do you think I have confidence in my ability to talk to a seller or a buyer? Or to coach an agent, you know? So a couple of years ago, I started coaching agents. That was a whole new set of scripts. I'm not talking to buyers and sellers, I'm talking to agents and helping them reach their goals. That was a whole new set of scripts. Do you think I took a class on that? Do you think they gave me a script book, a coaching script book? Yeah. So scripts, it doesn't matter what you're doing. Like the scripts that you use are going to set you up for success. So we all want confidence, right? So this is where we would break in the class and spend 30 minutes practicing those scripts. And I'm not going to make you stay on screen to do that. remember the do not call registry and be compliant. Check with your market center for those information. And then real play, you would be lead generating for an hour using your scripts. And then you're going to go in, you're going to update your contacts. And that is the end of Ignite, Spark 3. Thank you guys for coming.
We did have one question. I don't know if that got covered by Rebecca, sharing some resources that can help you keep current in the market, specifically in the coastal New Hampshire area. Again, I would go back to in our market center, we do a economic update once a month at one of our all partners meetings, and it's a wealth of knowledge. So I would reach out to your team leader and see if there is a class or something that you do, whether it's by email or whether it's a newsletter, or the best ways to stay on top of that in the coastal New Hampshire area.
Exactly. And, you know, you could subscribe to Inman, you could subscribe to, you know, Housing Wire. Like there's a lot of online real estate news sources. Some are free, some are subscription. Talk to your team leader and see if you've got any bulk subscription rates for any of those, or if they, you know, have any resources that they're currently following or using that they can share with you. And yeah, I mean, I get a million emails from different, you know, not just Inman, but everybody, right? And so read them and learn, you know, even Wall Street Journal, New York Times, whatever. Like there's I mean, even on LinkedIn, right? So that's free. You can follow Lawrence Young from
I was about to say Lawrence Young for sure.
National Association of Realtors. He's putting out amazing content, not only on LinkedIn, but on Facebook. So follow him. Subscribe to all the NAR and New Hampshire Association of Realtors mailings. I'm sure they're putting out great content. Yeah, like your job is to become an expert in real estate. That's another way that you're going to build confidence. And you pair that knowledge with the right scripts and you're unstoppable, guys. I mean, sky's the limit, right? Does anybody want to share any more takeaways or commitments from today? And then we're going to let you go.
I just shared Lawrence Young's LinkedIn.
Look at you. Thank you, Lucy.
You're welcome.
So Martha, getting here late. How do I watch the previous sessions? Having a hard time finding the links. So there is a Facebook group for KW New England Ignite. You should be in that. And through that group, you should be able to reach out to Brooke Silva or anybody from the region to get those questions answered. And there's Lucy's cat again.
Yeah, George says goodbye and go have some powerful conversations.
Okay. See you guys later. Thanks for coming.
Bye.